All right, we are looking at the threat for some winter weather as we move towards the end of the week. Want to give you the setup right now. Cold air is starting to blast across the nation. So today we're dealing with cold front number 1. And then by tomorrow into Friday, we're going to be dealing with cold front number 2 that's really keeping this really frigid air. It's kind of the differentiator between just cold air and then your frigid air, which is temperatures in the single digits and even below zero. There we go. So that air mass is going to be slipping southbound, and as it does, that's when we could see our chance for wintry precipitation go up. Now, keep in mind that just because it's cold doesn't equate to snow. But when you have moisture and you add that into the mix with cold air, that's where you have your chance for that winter weather. I want you to keep this in mind. Timing is key. This will require some perfection in the timing department if we see snow. So again, remember that this is not just a definite event that will take place. So we're looking at cold air and where that cold air meets moisture for the winter weather to occur. If you notice this light blue line here in the middle of your screen, this is what we call the freezing line. Everything north of this line below freezing, everything below this line above freezing. Therefore, any precipitation that forms, generally speaking, below this freezing line will be in its liquid form. Yes, that's rain, and anything along or just north of this line will generally come in the form of sleet and or snow. That's what makes this ever so tricky here in the deep south. You see, if we were way up north, any precipitation that falls this time of year is snow just because it's so cold. But down here, we don't have the luck of just being in this freezing or below freezing air mass all winter long. So here's what we're looking at. This is going to be Friday morning. Now, here's what's interesting is the timing on some of this is changing just a little bit. So we're looking at two different models right now, but we have this low down south. That's going to be grabbing this Gulf moisture. And then as this cold air moves in, it could change over some of that rain to snow. Notice up towards North Alabama. This will include Huntsville, and there could actually be some snow there on Friday. Now, if those temperatures overnight continue to take their tumble into the 20s and maybe even the teens, that will stick on the ground even by Saturday, but it should start to slowly melt away through the weekend. And notice even through Friday afternoon, some of that banding still sticking around. It's going to be more of a rain event down to our south, and it could even be more of an event up towards, say, North Georgia. That cold air really settles in later this weekend. So we are watching very closely the timing of all of this because this cold air, where it meets the moisture, is going to be the key factor in all of this. Here's a couple things that we know. One, we know it's going to get cold. Two, we know that there's going to be some precipitation. But what we don't know is exactly where and exactly when those two overlap. Our best guess right now is going to be sometime late Friday into the early hours on Saturday. This will be the pre-dawn hours. But here's my advice. Just go ahead and have that plan in place. Does this mean maybe put a little travel plan on halt Friday night and Saturday? Sure. Does this mean to be aware that if some of this weather begins to happen a little earlier on Friday, that you have that plan in place and that you can take action? Absolutely. So I would kind of lay low as we round out the week and head into the weekend, and also keep it tuned into CBS 42. You can also follow us at WIAT.com. We will constantly be giving you the latest information as these models continue updating, and we can bring you fresh information from now through this entire event. So with that, are there any questions? I guess we'll be sending this out today. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and post them, and I'll be sure to answer any questions you may have.
Well, really, no, because they are popping up. It's
Okay.
just people kind of asking in terms of, I've seen like Gwynn and
Right.
one of the cities. I think you were saying it's kind of there's a chance that it's potentially hitting pretty much.
Yeah, so the precision right now is going to be hard. I know. Wouldn't we all love to know, like, is it going to be our backyard? I have two kids that I know would love to open up the window and see snow on the ground on Saturday morning. It's going to be very hard to talk about pinpoint locations at this moment, but I can give you some generalities. I think along Interstate 59 and points north, there could be some stuff falling from the sky. Not confident, though, that we're going to see a lot of that sticking to the ground, only because I don't think we're going to be cold enough, long enough for us to see significant accumulations. Now, overnight, if we had a few things fall from the sky and it sticks on the ground, you could wake up in the morning and sure, it could be there, but by the time Saturday afternoon rolls around, a lot of that's going to start melting away. So think about Interstate 59. If you live along or north of 59, that's a better corridor for seeing any of the white stuff. And I'm even a little hesitant whether to call it sleet or snow, because it could be a quick changeover. That rain, it can solidify pretty quickly, but it may not have time. It may melt a little bit, refreeze, and that's how we get sleet. Or it could just be snow and it never melts at all, and it stays together as snow as it falls down to Earth's surface. So that's kind of where we're looking at. Timing right now, there's two models that we're really watching. Most of the information that we're getting is suggesting later in the day, Friday into the very early hours Saturday, but I did have one model this morning kind of pushing that up into Friday afternoon a little bit more. So I'm going to watch the timing very closely, but by tomorrow we'll have a much better consensus on kind of all of these variables and how they'll be lining up as we round out the week.
Just the last actually few were asking, and now with you saying potentially moving up on Friday, how would this affect schools or anything? I imagine there'll be a better
Yeah,
picture
we
of
will
that.
we will have a much better plan in place on Thursday. And you know, as a meteorologist, I don't like to step on that question too much regarding the schools, because they have all of their plans that they have. So I don't want to go out there making suggestions on that. But my suggestion would just be to stay apprised to any of the changing weather, and just know that it's going to be there. The potential is there. And I think that's the biggest thing, folks. It's not so much when and where and if it's going to happen. It's just the fact that we all know that there's the possibility. We all have our plan in place, and we're ready to execute that plan if need be. I think that's really the biggest takeaway here. It's not a matter if it snows at X location, but it didn't snow at Y location, because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's real plans are going to be completely washed away this weekend. It's not one of those events, but it's just something that needs to be a talker, and we all need to have our action plans ready to go if we need to implement them. So that's that. If you have any more questions, feel free to post them here on Facebook, and I'll be checking back and answering them throughout the morning. Thanks, y'all.